Oh, you're Bill Gates. Okay.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Okay, I remember you.
Yeah. In fact, I wanted to ask. I have a lot of his, I'm going to say, old papers and stuff. Have you ever contacted him or gotten in contact with him?
No, I haven't contacted him because it's so even. I guess we could do like a phone interview, but it's everything being so crazy with the way with with the whole pandemic thing. No, I haven't contacted him. Have you talked to him lately?
Yeah, probably within a week or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's doing all right.
Well, it's all relative, but yeah, he was doing better. He wasn't doing so hot for a while. He was having a challenge. He had a growth on it. He had a problem with reaction to chemo. He had a little bit of cancer removed.
Yeah, I think I remember. I talked to his son about it when Dan was at the library.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I need. He's one of the people on the list for an interview.
Yeah.
If he could do a Zoom interview like we're doing this, that would work out. But it's a lot to ask somebody to do a Zoom interview.
Well, what I'll do is when I talk to him, man, I try and talk to him probably on a weekly basis. I'll see if I can just chat and see if he's up to it, and I can help him. I have done a lot of, I'm going to say, remote control or remote management with him with his computer and helping him fix it or work it and things like that. So I'll see what he has and see how appropriate it is. See if we could swing it, because I think that you would really appreciate. You would really appreciate it big time, and you need to make sure you put him on the top of your priority list. Really.
Yeah, it would be great and he would be an easy person to interview because he's got a lot of stories. So yeah, if you get in touch with him, let me know, because if you could set up a Zoom interview, that would be fantastic.
Right, and his stories have stories.
Yeah, I know. I heard him speak a few times. He's good. But let's see here. Let's see. We have about 10 people, but it's almost 6:35. So, and I think Ed Belding's on the line. Do we have Ed?
Randy, I'm on the line.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? It's 6:35. It's close enough. Let's start. I mean, we have I don't know how many we have here, but they can join in. Let's see. We have 10 so far, and that's a good number. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the South Brunswick Historical Society presentation on influential women of South Brunswick in celebration of Women's History Month. And joining us tonight is Ed Belding, the town historian. And Ed, whenever you're ready, you can take it away.
Okay, Randy. I'm going to kick it off with a comment, and then I want to get into the competition that we're going to have tonight. I want to explain that.
Okay.
This is a time of the women's basketball. I want to emphasize that in March, not call it by its other name because there's a little controversy there. But I thought, since we're celebrating South Brunswick women in history, that it would be good to have a little March competition to go along with it.
Okay.
Now, first of all, I have mentioned this before, that we should have a Women's Hall of Fame in South Brunswick. The problem is that we have identified so many women that hall would be huge, and the cost of building it would be prohibitive at this point. But hopefully in the future, we will be able to have a Women's Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
We have generated a list of 100 women of various walks of life who need to be recognized, and we'll be working on our next 100 in the months to come. So we have plenty of work to do and a lot of people to honor. Now, before I start with our number one person that we're going to honor this month for women's history, let me explain the rules of the competition. As I understand it, we have spared no expense to obtain a prize for whoever guesses the song title and the recording artist of a song that has something to do with Women's History Month. Now, if you want to get in on the competition, And I know Randy is going to be competing too, because I didn't share the answer with anybody, just kept it to myself. You need to get a pencil and paper. We're going to do this the old-fashioned way. And you need to draw 12 dashes. That would mean 12 letters are in the title of the song. And the women's names that we're going to feature tonight contain the letters that will lead to the spelling of the title of the song. Now wait, there's more. This is like a big ad here. You also need a second line consisting of 10 spaces. That is for the recording artist who did this, who was famous for this song. So you have a line of 12 spaces and you have a line of 10 spaces.
So the first one is the person who wrote the song. The second one is the performer.
The first line is the title of the song.
Title, okay.
The second line is the artist who sang the song.
Okay.
Okay, this was a big hit. Now you need to number the spaces for the first line, 1 to 12. So the first space is 1, second space 2, and so on. If I'm going too fast for you, just slow me down. The second line is 10 spaces. You need to number that 13, 14, 15, up to 22.
So you start with 13?
Yes, yes. For the name of the artist, you need to start with 13. So this is going to be like bingo, where I call out a letter and a number. Now, the first one to guess the title of the song and the artist wins the prize. And Randy, you want to describe the prize in dulcet tones?
Yeah, the prize is a Friends of the South Brunswick Library T-shirt with the official logo. I could show you a picture of it later, but yeah, that's the high stakes we have tonight.
Okay, excellent, excellent. And I noticed on the shirt, the artist has a subtle heart shape formed by the tree of knowledge and the blue text hovering on top of the tree. I don't know if you noticed that, but it has a subtle artistic touch which makes it a valuable prize. I just wanted to emphasize that.
Yeah.
Okay, are we ready?
We're ready.
Here we go with number 1, Winifred Cook. And there are 2 letters in her name to get you started on the competition. The W goes in the 9 space. The first O in her last name, Cook, goes in the 20th space.
What goes in the 20th? The O?
The O.
Okay.
Okay, so you have a W and an O in the 9 and the 20 space. You can guess at the end of each reading. Here we go. Winifred Cook. She was born in Carlisle, Pennsylvania in 1926, and she passed in 1995. Winifred graduated from Penn State with a BA in journalism in 1944. She was a member of the South Brunswick Library Board of Trustees in the 1960s. She was a noted reporter, columnist, feature writer, and editor for the Central Post, Princeton Packet, Cranberry Press, the Home News, and the Trenton Times. She was an active leader with the 4-H Club and the Girl Scouts of South Brunswick. Winifred and her husband, Richard C. Cook, raised 3 daughters in Dayton and graduated from South Brunswick High School. The daughters did. She interviewed many celebrities and prominent individuals, including Lucille Ball, Vincent Price, Barry Goldwater Jr., a member of the House of Representatives, Edith King, a Broadway actress living in Kendall Park, George Siegel, the world-renowned South Brunswick sculptor artist, Zaza Gabor, and Malcolm Forbes, among others. She received more than 25 awards for her work from groups including the New Jersey Newspaper Women, Sigma Delta Chi, the American Red Cross, the Jewish War Veterans, the Girl Scouts of America, the United States Consumer Products Division, and the New Jersey Press Association. And we conclude each one of these short bios with a quote. Winifred said, "It is an unusual job I have, reporting for a select group of readers, the consumers of Central New Jersey." That ends my reading on the first one. Randy, we open it to any questions, and does anybody want to guess on the song title and the artist?
Not me, not at this point.
A little too early, huh?
Yeah, that would be tough. Just 2 letters.
It's a tough competition.
But it'll get easier.
Oh, it gets easier. Oh, it does, yes. By about 11:30 tonight, it gets very easy.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're ready, Randy, for you to do number 2.
Yeah, the next person I'd like to talk about is Edith King. Now, Edith King, she was an American stage and film actress. She was born in 1896 and she died in 1973. She lived in Kendall Park, and in the early 60s, she owned a small gift shop while she continued her acting career. She found Kendall Park to be a great location because she'd go into New York City, into Broadway, to work up there. And I think sometimes I read somewhere in an interview that she stayed overnight up there, but it was an easy commute for her. She performed in 34 Broadway plays, most notably Wildcat, and she starred in that with Lucille Ball in 1960 and 61, and that's the picture you see there. So for a short time, she worked with Lucy. She was on popular television shows and commercials. She was on a show called Follow That Man in the late 40s, I guess the very early TV, and Sergeant Bilko in the 1950s. Her movies were Blaze of Noon, Calcutta, and Belle Star's Daughter. And the quote I have from her is, because a lot of times Winifred Cook would interview her for the Home News or the Central Post, because she was, they both lived right in South Brunswick. But her quote was, "Kendall Park is a wonderful place to live." And that was from the Central Post in 1963. So, and that's a pretty interesting picture we see up there of Edith King with the cigar and the monkey and Lucy too. So yeah, that's what I have for Edith King. I mean, she's well known in the day, but it was a long time ago. But there you had a Broadway actress living right there in Kendall Park.
Okay, and Randy, the 2 letters from Edith King's name for our competition, the E goes in space number 12, and the N in her last name goes in space number 6.
Okay.
E12, N6.
Okay. Still have no clue.
Okay, are we ready for the next one?
Yep, ready to go.
Okay. We get a little touch of nobility here. This number 3 is Stella Andrassi.
But just to let you know, Ed, the picture I have of Stella here, she's standing by one of her inventions, the solar cookers. That's what people are saying.
Right. That's one of our best pictures of her.
Yeah.
Stella Andrassi was a countess originally from Sweden. She emigrated to Hungary but had to flee with her husband, Count Imre Andrassi, when the Russians took over in 1945. Countess Andrassi came to New York City in 1948 and started writing a book on her specialty, solar energy devices. In 1959, she and her husband moved to Kingston in order for her to be able to work for Curtiss Wright in their solar energy laboratory. In 1960, the lab closed down and Stella and her husband formed the Solar Electric Laboratories. They did their own research in the basement of their house in Kingston. Stella Andrassy developed the following solar devices: a solar water heater, water purifier, a sludge desiccator, a desalinator, and a fruit dehydrator. She also developed a solar cooker, which was introduced to the public in 1980. Her inventions are known for their simplicity and potential for use in developing nations because they are relatively inexpensive to manufacture. Thus, Countess Andrassy became a leader in the field of practical technology. The quote from Stella is, "My family in Sweden was rich. My husband was rich. We were privileged, so we had to do something because of my position to help others." So ends our account of Stella Andrassy. And the two letters that you need to put into your competition lines, the S in Stella goes in number 15 space, and the Y at the end of her last name goes in number 1. S15, Y1. Remember, as we finish on one bio, if anybody wants to guess on the song title and artist, this is the time to do it.
Not me.
Okay. Randy, I turn it over to you for number 4.
Okay. The next one we have is Gilda Gildenberg, and this is a picture here you can see from 1963. Gilda is actually the woman with the glasses. I think she had something to do with a scouting award, and Gilda wanted to become a teacher. Her parents wanted her to become a doctor. She went to Hunter College and earned a degree in food sciences. However, she ended up marrying, raising a child, and substitute teaching in South Brunswick. She went on to gain a teaching certificate and a master's degree in counseling from Trenton State College, today's the College of New Jersey, TCNJ. She taught at the Green Books School for 14 years, and then she went over to Monmouth Junction School for 10 years. She finished her teaching career at Indian Fields, where she taught for 7. So she retired after putting in 31 years in elementary schools of South Brunswick, quite a feat. Gilda saw many changes, some for the better, during her teaching career. A memorable one was she was challenging the old idea that women should not be allowed to wear pants to school because, this is the 60s and it was still, unheard of then. She was inspired by her daughter's participation in protest wearing shorts and t-shirts during the last days in the school year. Gilda and some other female teachers joined the protest and wore pantsuits to work, to school. So that was actually a big deal in the 60s because everyone, as you can see the pictures, everyone wore dresses. So it was a little bit of a rebel there wearing a pantsuit. So it just shows how much things have changed. After retirement, she set her sights on traveling to such places as Alaska, Nova Scotia, and Australia. But she couldn't stay away from education even when she was retired. She got into supervising student teachers at Rutgers University, and she enjoyed it immensely. The quote I have from her is, "School is a place where kids get experiences that their parents may not expose them to." And I still see, Gilda still comes in the library. I see her, before we close, I saw her pretty often. She came to a lot of our programs. Yep, and that's Gilda. So what clues do you have for this person, Ed?
Okay, for Gilda, I used the last name for 2 letters. In Gildenberg, the N goes in the 10 space, and the second E goes in the 12th space. so it's N10E12.
Don't we have another E in 12, or did I hear that wrong?
Yeah, I think we
Yes,
have an E in 12.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh-oh.
that's okay, because you can never get enough E's.
I just want to make a comment about Gilda. I'm really a good friend of hers.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And does she know that you were doing this?
No,
I think she would have loved it. She's in Florida. I think she's in Florida right now.
I'm recording it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send, I have her email address somewhere, I'm sure.
Okay, if you don't, I have it. I
Okay.
think she would have loved this, and she could have zoomed in on it if I'm just shocked. But she has 3 kids, and I think her son works for the Parks Department in South Brunswick.
Oh, okay.
And then she was mentoring actually at the College of New Jersey. She left Rutgers and was doing the College of New Jersey. And she's great. She's so unbelievably active. Anyway, I took a screen print of this to send her, and I was trying to write down your quote. But if you're going to send her, I think she would love it.
Yeah, I have it. I have a whole little biography set up that I'm reading from. So I put this together before. So I'll send it to her. And I also have the Zoom link too. But sure, any kind of information like that you have, share. Yeah.
Oh,
and she has survived 3 of my children.
Oh, yeah.
And I always say Gilda knows everybody in South Brunswick.
Yep.
She really knows everyone. She also served when I was on the South Brunswick Senior Advisory Council at the Senior Center. She served there for 5 or 6 years also. So she was a member of the Senior Advisory Council. And she volunteered teaching, I think, ESL. It may have been at the library. Did she do, or definitely at the Senior Center?
I don't know if she did it at the library. It's possible, but I don't recall. Yeah, but she's always in the library though. So
she knows everybody.
I showed her the pictures because I was going through the archives, and I showed her a picture. I think last year. I said, here you are in 1963, and I had a couple other ones too. So she was amused.
Yeah. Well, if you don't have her email, just contact me. I'll get it for you. I took a screen print of this, so I could at least send her that.
Sure, and you're Gail. Okay.
Thank you so much for doing that. She deserves to be on that list.
Oh, great. Sure. Yeah. This is
Hey,
good.
Randy.
Yeah.
You might remember that we had Gilda on the display last year that was cut short by COVID.
Yeah.
Gilda was one of the ones that we featured on that display for last year's Women in History. And I'm pretty sure she knew about that last year.
Yeah, it was up. Yeah, it was up for a short time. So it was up for.
Right. So it's good that we featured her again because she deserves it.
Yeah, and they really didn't get a good showing last time because of how short it got cut. But yeah, so that's great.
Okay, we're ready for number 5.
Okay, let me switch.
Okay, speaking of March basketball, number 5 is Vivian Stringer.
Ooh.
Vivian Stringer is the Rutgers University head coach for the women's basketball team. She is one of the winningest coaches in women's college basketball history, and she gained such honors as Sports Illustrated and USA Today Coach Awards in 1993, and also the Black Coaches Association Coach of the Year in 93 and in 1998. Vivian was inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame in 2001 and the International Women's Sports Hall of Fame in 2006. She was awarded an honorary Doctor of Humanities from Howard University in 2008. Vivian's favorably reviewed 2008 memoir, Standing Tall, a memoir of tragedy and triumph, is available in the South Brunswick Library. The quote from Vivian is, "Work hard and don't look for excuses, and you can achieve anything." I picked one letter from Vivian Stringer's name for the competition. This is another E, and it goes in space 17. E17.
E17. I just had a quick question for people out there. Were people aware that Vivian Stringer lived in South Brunswick?
No.
Yeah, I found it by accident myself. I didn't. I mean, I kind of knew who she was, but then I saw that she had. I forget the name of the street she's on, but it was something like a discovery. So she's been here for, I forget when she moved in, but she's been here for a while.
Did Coach Stringer coach in the Olympics?
Is she? Oh, I don't know that. Is that?
Yes, I believe she did, but I don't know the years.
Oh, that's interesting. She coached the Olympics. Let me write that down.
Yeah. I don't remember the years. She may have done it more than once. I'm not sure.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay.
Okay, Randy, we're ready. Did anybody want to guess on the song title and the artist? Okay, this is turning into a challenge. Randy, we're ready for number 6.
Okay. All right. And number 6 is Joan Luckhart. Now, Joan Luckhart lived in Dayton, and she taught at Rutgers, William Patterson University, was on the faculty of the University of Dentistry and Medicine, UMDNJ, and she was instrumental in saving the historically significant Slack Carroll House, right over there by the Wawa, from being demolished. And there's a good story about that house. They were actually looking to tear it down on a Saturday. It looked like the builders they didn't get permission, and she halted it. It's a good story that goes along with this. So she's credited with saving the house. It was one of the first houses built on 5 points, and the Slack Carroll House was actually an area hospital in the 1800s, and it's supposedly the first hospital in Middlesex. She was the president of the Dayton Village Citizens Coalition, the DVCC, and it's headquartered in the Slack Carroll House. And the DVCC works to educate the community about historic preservation, gardening, and traditional planting styles, and working to make the area more pedestrian and bicycle friendly. And she also served on the Historic Preservation Commission. She was awarded the Barry Indick Award for her work for the betterment of South Brunswick. And the quote I have from her is, "What we're really doing is preparing, being good stewards of what we inherited, and hopefully can pass it on to the next generation and generations to come." And this was from the Sentinel in 2005. And we're ready for our clues.
Okay, from the Joan Lockhart name, I'm taking the D in the last name and put that in the 4 space. So we're talking about D4.
Okay.
Okay.
I just want to tell you, I looked up Vivian Stringer. The Olympics was 2004 in Athens. It said she was the head coach for the United States.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Good.
Head coach.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Joan was a really multi-dimensional person. She was an artist. She was a labor leader. She had her own shop in Fairhaven, New Jersey, before I met her, a jewelry shop where she designed and manufactured jewelry. And she was recruited to a high school in Red Bank to teach art. But she did so many other things. After we got married, she went on to Rutgers to get a PhD in anthropology. She did her research work at the Passamaquoddy Reservation in northern Maine. And because she was an artist, she was able to get access by drawing pictures of the Passamaquoddy children, giving them to the mothers who gave them to the elders of the tribe and that allowed her to get access into the tribe.
Now, Bob, when the first thing that you said about her, I wasn't sure if I heard you correctly. Did you say she was a labor leader?
She was a labor leader at the school where she was in Red Bank, Little Silver. She was a strike leader. She led a strike to get better conditions for the students. She told me a story about being on the roof of the school at Red Bank Little Silver High School with a megaphone and talking to the teachers who were striking outside and encouraging them in the strike. So,
that's interesting. And you could probably better tell the story of how she saved the house too. I mean, do you know if there's any truth to that, or they were actually working to knock down the Slack Harrell house on a Saturday?
It was a Saturday, and he went outside and asked if they had demolition permits.
Right.
And they did not, and she called the cops. And the police came out and said, well, you can't do anything about tearing down the Slack Harrell house. Well,
so she saved it literally.
Permits. And then she went to the town council, and Frank Gambatis was a person with who helped her a lot, and the council debated, and finally they got an agreement from Wawa that Wawa would turn over the property. It was a 1/4 acre that the Wawa really didn't need for their parking lot expansion. And I mean, this was a long period of negotiations. But Joan managed to get Wawa to turn over the house and that 1/4 acre that was on the corner to the Dayton Village Citizens Coalition.
That's a great story, and it's so dramatic too, because she was there on a Saturday, like facing the construction guys. I love the story.
Right. I mean, she was a really spark plug for the Dayton Village Citizens Coalition, and also a spark plug for the community in Dayton.
Yeah, thank you. So did we do the letters for Joan, Ed? Did we get those in there?
Yes, we had the D in the 4 space.
Okay.
But I haven't heard anybody dare to make a guess yet.
I have no idea. I'm looking at it. I have no clue.
Okay, then it's working.
Could you give us a hint?
We're ready for number 7?
Yeah, sure. But can you give us a hint of the era?
I can give you a hint, yes.
Okay.
This song was not from after the year 2000. The song was before the year 2000.
Okay. All right. I guess we'll take what we can get, right? For hints.
Yeah, that's called a cheap hint.
Yeah.
Real cheap. Okay, number 7, Ozra Begg. Ozra came to South Brunswick from Ohio in 2002. She is a registered nurse who has worked in 2 school districts. She also worked as a freelance news reporter. Early on, she became a community activist. She has served several years on the South Brunswick Board of Education. She has also been a member of the South Brunswick Municipal Alliance and the South Brunswick Human Relations Commission. She was previously on the board of the Islamic Society of Central Jersey. Ozra is the first woman of Asian American background to have served on the South Brunswick Board of Education. Her 2 daughters, Suna and Samia, started a Cards of Condolences for Peshawar campaign in 2015 after terrorists had attacked the Army public school in Pakistan, killing 132 children. This was a way to raise awareness of the tragedy and show support to the families of the victims. Around 1,800 cards were collected and sent to Peshawar. Azra and her daughter Samia helped coordinate a Cleats for Kids drive in the community. Close to 200 pairs of soccer used cleats were collected and sent to children in South America. She is truly one of South Brunswick's stars in activist pursuits. Her quote, "It is essential to be knowledgeable of the cultural needs of the population one serves." And she's certainly a prime example of what she says. In her name, last name, the G goes in space 19. G19.
It's just the one letter.
Yes, because we want to make this painfully difficult.
Okay, you're succeeding.
And when you're ready, Randy, you can take it with number 8.
Okay. Number 8 is Tammy Tibbetts. Tammy's graduated from the South Brunswick High School in 2003 and was the former editor-in-chief of the Viking Vibe, the school newspaper. She also worked as a page at the South Brunswick Library. I remember her, when she was in high school, and I was only there for, at that point, I guess 5 years. It was a long time ago. She went on to college. She went to the college in New Jersey to receive her bachelor's in journalism. She worked as an intern for various media companies, a web editor for Hearst Digital Media, and then became director of the Magdala Cooper Foundation, supporting education for abandoned children and orphans in Liberia. She's co-founder and CEO of She's the First. The She's the First is a nonprofit organization headquartered in New York City that fights gender inequality through education. Their mission statement is a world where every girl chooses her own future. In 2019, Tammy helped launch the Global Girls Bill of Rights, a declaration of the rights that all girls are entitled to, written by girls for girls. Tammy's organization was selected as one of the 25 charities to compete for the American Giving Award, sponsored by Chase Bank, and she received a $25,000 grant. In 2020, she co-wrote Impact, and that's the book you see there on the right side of the screen, with Kristen Brandt. This book is about how to get others to make a difference in the world, and this is based on her 10 years of experience leading the She's the First movement. And the quote I have from Tammy is, "Many Americans don't realize that 1 out of every 5 girls in developing countries will never graduate from high school." So, I could say that I remember her as a page and as a high school student, and then we started to hear about her, and it was really pretty amazing to see how she came so far and did all those things. And she came back to speak a couple of times too. But the picture on the left is her in high school, and that's kind of how I remember her when she was at the library. But yeah, she was in Parade magazine not too long ago. Maybe she's getting national exposure, so it's a nice boost for South Brunswick. And that's all I have for Tammy.
Okay. The letter I have from Tammy Tibbetts' name is the E in the last name. That goes in slot 22. Space 22. So that's E22.
Okay. Okay.
Anybody want to have a question or comment about Tammy, and also a guess on the song title and artist? Go right ahead.
Any relation to Paul Tibbetts?
Her dad lives in town, and her sister does too, but I don't know her father's first name. It's very possible. Shelley is her sister, and she also worked at the library, or she still does work at the library.
Paul Tibbets would be a grandfather or great grandfather.
A grandfather. Okay. I think I met her father at a when we had the South Brunswick Historical Society History Day, and he came out and I was talking to him. You know, he introduced himself, and you know, his well, actually, yeah, it's Shelley's. He said, you know, I'm Shelley's dad, but I don't remember his first name. But yeah, it seems like the name is in the area, and so the family's been around for a while. But yeah, like I said, when I started to, I knew who she was, and I knew that she was, you know, somebody who would come up in the Google search pretty easily. But when I looked just recently to find out a little bit more about her, I was kind of surprised at how much, you know, how much exposure she gets out there and how well known she is. So, yep.
May I add that she was in 2014 the keynote speaker of South Brunswick Commission on Women, and she was very, very well received by the students.
Okay. Yeah, because she's from the neighborhood, right? She's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great role model.
Yeah, she seems very relatable. I mean, she seems very down to earth.
Yep.
Okay. So if we have our letters, we can move on to our next one. Ed, are you ready?
Yes, I am, with number 9.
Okay.
This is Dr. Mia Breitbart. She graduated from South Brunswick High School in 1996 and attended Florida Institute of Technology to study marine biology. She went on to San Diego State University to obtain a doctorate in cellular and molecular biology. She then became a professor at the University of South Florida. She was named one of Popular Science magazine's top 10 scientists in 2013. She was so honored for her creation of the field of metagenomics, the sequencing of genomes within an environment to identify and combat animal, plant, and human illnesses caused by viruses. This is hitting pretty close to home with the COVID thing.
Right, right.
While at South Brunswick High School, Mia participated in the Chemistry Olympics, Mathletes, SciPed, Girl Scouts, Wider Ops, and she participated in travels to Malaysia, North Carolina, and Great Lakes area to do research. She earned the Girl Scout Gold Award, which is the highest award in Girl Scouts. She has managed several STEM programs for Girl Scouts in Florida and serves as a role model for girls who want to make a difference in the world. She is also an accomplished nature photographer. She's had shows in St. Petersburg. Her photos of Mexico were featured in Astrobiology magazine, and her bilingual videos were also featured from her work. Her quote is, "We must find ways of finding things before they become a big problem." And from Mia Breitbart's name, I could only take one letter, but that would give away the last name of the artist for the song too easily, so I'm not going to give you that letter.
Thank you.
I'm playing hard to get, and we'll continue with the next one.
Okay. No clue for us. Let's see. Okay, the next person we have, the next woman is Joyce Mita. She's serving as a commissioner on the South Brunswick Commission on Women and also on the South Brunswick Board of Ed. She's worked with parents, students, and teachers to advocate for awareness of mental health and stress. This resulted in the district's homework policy and homework-free holidays. She was instrumental in organizing the South Brunswick Domestic Violence Awareness Walk. She's a member of the Municipal Alliance Against Substance Abuse, and she has focused on the dangers of vaping and e-cigarette use. She's on the task force of the District Equality Committee and the New Jersey School Boards Association Equity Committee. And the quote I have from her is, "By opening our doors of communication and allowing inclusion, respecting honest feedback, encouraging transparency, and valuing every opinion, our community can enable South Brunswick to become eminent and the role model to other districts by becoming exceptional through innovative solutions that foster productive change." And that was from the Sentinel in 2017. Okay.
Thank you to the Historical Society for this. I just wanted to say a big heartfelt thanks to you. It's just an honor, even you know, being a part of this event this evening, and all the efforts that you've put in to recognize so many women in South Brunswick. Most of them are just far greater than, and done far more than anything that I could have achieved. But I just wanted to say heartfelt thank you to you all for your efforts.
Oh, you're welcome. And now is a good time to bring up another thing too. I'll be sending out an email link to a Google form where you can vote on, or at least nominate other women for future I don't know what we want to call this, future honors that we're going to be giving out next year, from next March possibly. So I'll send out an email link, and you can just nominate anyone, and that way we can kind of get some more input from the people, the community. But no, that's great. We're glad that we're reaching some people, so we're happy about that.
Could I make a quick suggestion?
Sure.
About something, please?
Sure.
I just wanted to respond to the Women's Hall of Fame idea, which is totally a brilliant idea. And what I wanted to say was, I understand about, you know, actually having a physical space, but maybe you could consider a virtual space. So what I'm thinking is, you know, something on the South Brunswick Township website that maybe we can create and have a space. And then, you know, that way it can be updated periodically. And, you know, if you wanted to honor some of the women that were there, we could have a virtual meeting and a virtual recognition. So that might be one suggestion, you know, which might work. And we could, you know, we could recognize everybody in town going way back to day one.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll look into that. And that way, like you said, it'd be easy to update, and we can also get other people's input and nominations. So yeah, good idea.
Yeah, that is an excellent idea. And of course, Randy, you are the expert when it comes to the computers and all that. So yeah, we can cover that. And of course, as you may or may not know, I've been doing research on the very early years of South Brunswick. I'm up to the 1750 to 1775 era, and so I have a long way to go. But yeah, there are a lot of well-known people that we could call upon from the early years. So it's doable, it's great, and as I say, there's a tremendous amount of talent and so forth within the borders of South Brunswick Township, and we just have to make that known to people. Yeah, this is something we can expand on and develop. And Randy, by the way, I have another letter for you in the competition.
Okay.
This is from Joyce's last name. The M goes in space number 11.
I figured it out.
11. You think you have it?
Well, when the last name was Gore, so it's Leslie Gore, right?
Leslie Gore is the artist.
So who Who
I think
got
the
it?
song is You Don't Own Me, or You Don't Know Me, You Don't Own Me. It has to be owned.
Okay, go with your first one, Occam's Razor. You Don't Own Me is the song title.
Wow, that's great.
Okay. Now, to get the shirt in the size that you want,
You know what?
all you have to
I don't
do,
wear a lot of t-shirts, so I'm gonna let, if anyone else figure it out, go with that, or give it to one of your volunteers. Okay.
okay, well, yeah, I was just
Yeah.
making fun here. You
Yes.
are the winner. Who is the winner, Randy?
It's Gail Weber, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gail Weber. Okay. Gail, you can pick up the shirt. Randy can give you the details, and you can give it to somebody yourself.
Well,
That might be the best way to do it. You can pick it up at the library.
well, I'm a member, Rand, of the South Brunswick, the Monday Night Book Club.
Mm-hmm.
Could you
Right?
give it to Judy, who's our facilitator?
Sure, sure.
Yeah,
But-
tell her it's from Gail with love.
Okay, there we go. And there is a heart in the
Yeah.
artist rendition of it.
She's
Okay, so it's
wonderful.
Leslie Gore, You Don't Own Me.
Was Leslie
now-
from South Brunswick?
Leslie is from North Jersey.
Okay.
I dated a girl who was a friend of Leslie Gore's. I never got close to Leslie Gore, but I got close to her friend.
I
But that goes way back. We're talking about a song that was a hit in 1963.
Yes.
It was way ahead of its time because it was sort of a protest song, and it was somewhat controversial when it came out. It was on the Mercury label. Does anybody happen to know the title of the B-side of the record?
No.
Not me.
But
Okay.
what town did Leslie grow up in? Because I grew up in northern Jersey.
I think
My
she was
party.
from Upper Saddle River.
Okay. Okay.
It's My Party.
It's My Party was her biggest hit. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You Don't Own Me comes in about second or third. If you had that record in mint condition now, it'd be worth between $40 and $50.
Did the song go, It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want to?
No, this was a slow record,
it's
slower
not that?
than
Okay.
the one you mentioned. You Don't Own Me, I'm Not Your Runaround, things like that. So she was putting her foot down, and she had a very stern voice in the song. And the B-side, in case you want to know, is Run, Bobby, Run. So that sort of maybe fits in a little bit, like she's telling the guy to get away. So there you go. That's your contest. We have a winner, and that's great. It worked out. Thank you.
Thank you. It was fun.
I didn't even
Okay.
think of this.
Randy, we might want to try the competition again in the months to come.
Yeah, we could do something again like this. Yeah.
Right. We just have to figure out some nice prizes for people.
That's to secure some prizes. Yeah.
Yeah, we're off to a good start. And I did want to mention that next month is National Poetry Month, and we're going to feature poetry from South Brunswick Township. You'd be surprised at the amount of poetry that has been generated in South Brunswick Township. So hope to have you tune in next month for that.
Yeah. So I'll send everyone out the link about so you can vote for nominate win for next year's. It'll be a Google form, and yeah, and stay tuned for next month's presentation on poetry.
Okay,
And
just to remind you, you gave us, for the Trenton Trolley is Thursday, something like that.
oh yeah, that's it's for the Mercer County Library System. They should be sending you a link because they sent you a reminder link.
Yeah, they sent out something. Yeah, I don't know if there was the link yet, but I did get something for
I
that.
think the link will be coming in. They said 24 hours before.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's another history program. It looks pretty interesting. But yeah, so stay tuned next month, and we'll talk about poetry in South Brunswick. Does anybody have any kind of questions or anything, or anything they'd like to mention?
Thank you. Thank
Keep
you.
up the good work.
All right, thanks, and thanks for coming out, everybody.
Okay, Randy, I'm signing off.
Okay, Ed. All right, good night, all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Still there?
I'm still here, yeah.
Yeah. I'll see if I can get a hold of John Maltby for you.
Yeah, you know, it would work out great. That's great. We can talk now. I think it would really lend itself well to use it on Zoom, because it's almost better than doing it in person, because in person I have to set up the recording equipment and the cameras, and I have to do the interview, and it's quite a bit to handle with one person. It's better if you have two. So with Zoom, I think I can handle it with just with you working the controls on his side, and then me recording it here. So I think that'll work out great. So if you get in touch with him, all we have to do is set up a time, and that shouldn't be too hard to do. And then
let me tell you, you're going to have, I mean, this is an amazing person, and his stories have stories and have stories.
Yeah.
And he can tell you about, oh, wow, in 1923, when I was a student pastor, I did this to this person, and I married this person to this person, and her grandmother was this and that, and I married her grandmother. And he'll go through the entire family history, and then I say, oh, well, this is her great grandson, and her great grandson lived on this address. And I mean, he just has an incredible sort of memory about things, about the local things, and about the stores and the store name. I mean, you'll really, really enjoy speaking to him. But you're going to have what I call an IO-RQ overflow. You're going to be so full of stuff.
Could you tell us about the Grange, the #1 Grange? Does he have anything to do with that?
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, that would be interesting, because I'd like to find out more about that. But yeah, if you get together the information, just tell me when would work, and we could work something out, I'm sure, because it's easy enough to do. We can do it on Zoom and just record the whole thing. So yeah, let me know. I'm ready to go.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
Okay, so good. And keep up the good work. This was really nice.
Oh, good.
My first one. So.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we're trying some new things out here, so it seems to be working pretty well.
Yeah, and I like the idea of the Hall of Fame being a virtual one. When you think about the things that you can do, I mean, you can do pictures and you can do videos. I mean, you can do a lot of interesting work.
Yeah, I think that's
the potential of having school students participate. I don't know if you hook up with any of the high school folks that are in that kind of business, but boy, a interesting project for them to have would be a component of it that you can keep going.
Yeah, it would be nice to farm that out to some high school kids, because they can do it as a project, and
Right.
get some kind of credit for it. That'd be great.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's a good idea. And like I said, when we try these things out, you wonder if you're going to miss somebody, or But I think the most important thing is just to go ahead and do it, and then you get some kind of interest, and people could suggest other people.
Right.
So yeah.
You can always fine tune it, always tweak it.
Yep.
That's for sure. Well, keep up the good work.
All right. Thanks.
Hello.
Good night.
Good night.